Gary Scott, nice to have you on Ignition GT. This is important. I'm hitting the timer. We've got 10 minutes to talk cars.
Great to be here.
Who are you? Where are you from? I mean, I thought I knew most of the guys at Kia.
Yeah, I've kind of been in the background, I suppose, a little bit, at least from a marketing perspective. 14 years in the business, though. 14 years. So I started here as a very young man, 27 years old. I'm about to turn 42. I joined from Deloitte in 2002. And in those days, we were selling 200 cars in a good month.
Very different now.
It was quite a brave call to join, but you know, if you've met Ray Levine, and you definitely have, he's got an infectious enthusiasm, and I thought I'd like to work with this man, and so he hired me as his financial manager. I did that for a couple of years, but I think Ray's of the view that why would anyone want to do accounting for the rest of their life, and so
it sounds like Ray.
Exactly, and I certainly was of that view as well. It was just a nice into the business. And from there, I moved into a very big system project, just modernizing the group, not just Kia, you know, fellow importers, Hyundai, and at the time SsangYong and Daihatsu, a few other brands. And that kept me busy for 5 years. I came back to the Kia business that I wanted to be in. It was much more modernized. It was ready to scale up, and you know, I think that was good because we did scale up, and I think we all feel that the next 10, 15 years in this industry is going to be more dynamic than the last 100. You know, the consumer space is changing so quickly.
Well, I mean, that's also your development curve as a Korean brand is insane. You guys have had this mission to take on the Germans in South African specs in terms of being a premium offering. Is that the focus? Is that the push for Kia going forward?
Well, I think the license we've always had is that you know, when you are the challenger, you can do whatever you want because there's no rule book. You write the rule book as you go along. We've enjoyed upsetting the market a little bit, and you know, I think we've made things like maintenance plan commonplace in the market. That wasn't really the case in the non-premium market before we came along. But you're right. I think if I go back to 2002 and some of the products we were selling, Schumer, Spectra, our faithful Bucky was still around then.
Yeah.
Very much bang for buck. You know, some people would say questionable styling. You know, you either loved it or hated it. Some of the wood didn't really involve trees. But you got a lot of kit. You got a lot of kit for your money, and you know, it was hard to deny that proposition.
But now is the challenge for the future of Kia, because it's like, now it's a price point. People now need to want to buy this car because it's a bloody good car, not because it's a value proposition. It's a desirable element now.
So I think it's a very brave step you need to take, and it's a very deliberate one which has taken place as a brand. You could decide to continue to fight in the space we were, but internationally there's always going to be somebody coming in to undercut you. And I think what the Koreans have done is said, we're going to build the engineering capability, we're going to recruit and develop, you know, the designing, and you know, that philosophy is very different to some other countries, you know, where they tend to be quite nationalistic. The Koreans have said, and Kia have said, we want the best. And so Peter Schreyer's come on board. We've now hired people from, I forget the gentleman's name, but from the M division of BMW, so there'll be some performance development coming along, which I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but watch the space.
It's a perfect environment.
Watch the space. Well, it's the power to surprise. So we'll surprise you. We'll surprise you in the short term.
Nicely done.
In the short term, I think.
Subtle marketing thrown in.
100%. So I think the narrative that hasn't yet flowed through is the quality story. You go back, I'm going to say about 10 years, and look at the faults per 100 charts that people like JD Powers do, and see where Kia tracked on that. I mean, we were probably 20th out of 30 manufacturers, maybe 25th to be fair, and now we're number 1. I think what the consumer has to get their head around is that engineering investment, that investment in excellence, don't come cheap. It's you are getting a lot for your money. It's no longer a specs and features thing and a tick list. We still have all the specs, it's the under the skin stuff. It's that peace of mind of what happens in the event of an accident. It's, will this car last? I think the warranty has done its job. The comprehensive warranty that we provide has done a job. It's sort of countered that objection. But I can faithfully say that the engineering behind this car now is on another level.
Okay, I mean, we've been to Korea with you guys to the test facility there. I mean, like 80 different road surfaces, and literally everything is going into the underpinnings of the car, because that was probably where we had our objections. Was it looked great, got the warranties, but it's the quality of the drive, and that has come on in leaps and bounds. But I suppose the challenge for you in South Africa is that you are 100% importer, and the South African exchange rate is going to murder you, which doesn't make pricing easy. Is that the worst thing of your job? Is trying to counter that and remain competitive with a good quality product?
Look, I think that is one of our challenges. I think what we need to be cognizant of at all times, and it's something we manage very well and very closely, is that we have the support of our principal. And they're on a drive. They want to grow from 3.1 million cars currently to 4 million by 2020, and they need all the markets around the world to do that. They can't afford to drop a market even as seemingly small as South Africa. They need all of that momentum around the world, and so we do have that support. They cringe along with us when they see what the rand has done over the last few years, but the support has come. And so when you look at what the price has done, that's less a story of exchange rates, much more the story of the engineering investment.
South Africa is quite unique
in
terms there's massive third world, but there's also a very big share that is first world and Eurocentric needs. How do you configure the car like a Sportage?
From a sales perspective, we fall under Middle East and Africa. So we report into Dubai, and we are not the same as the rest of Middle East and Africa. We're much more of a Eurocentric market in terms of the consumer taste. This product, the one we're driving in now, is made in Slovakia for the European market, right-hand drive for the UK, and so we're getting effectively the same car. What's different is that the Euro spec, which is the emission standards, is different. And Euro 6, which I think is what they're running in Europe at the moment, as a minimum spec, has a whole lot of other things around emissions and crash avoidance and what have you that perhaps are over-engineered for the consumer and the positioning that we need in this country. So if they were to be available, would really just price us out of the market at this point in time.
Is there a possibility, I hear what you're saying, but does it not make sense to bring in this new tech and filter it down with a lesser spec version?
So Marius, I think one of the things that happens is that as spec becomes available, and you know that there's a roadmap for spec becoming available, you can decide to delay the entire launch of your range, or you can launch a range and then supplement as you go along. Certainly that gap you've spoken about between entry level and the next model up is a fairly big gap, and we see an opportunity for at least 2 more models into that space. Okay. We're working on that right now. Those engine transmission options were not available at launch, so we had to leave that gap, give our competitors a little bit of relief for a short while, but sorry guys, we're coming at you very hard very soon. In particular with the 1.6 turbo engine, I think our first fight was to get the engine at all. And so we got the engine and we ticked that box. Initially, the strategy for the region was that engine, this transmission, the dual clutch transmission, and the GT line cosmetic pack would be bundled together and only offered in that scenario. So we didn't have a lot of wiggle room in that sense. Okay. But going forward, yes, I think we will see the turbo GDI engine available with the 1.6, possibly even with the manual transmission, and certainly with a more mid-range spec. What I will say to you that's been very interesting in the sort of 6 weeks since launch, who are we seeing coming to buy our cars? It's far less the old Sportage driver. It's not really those other competitors that we all know about in the price range or around the price range. It's more your premium guys that are buying down. Yeah. They want the kit, they want the feel, they probably have a design, there's an aesthetic requirement from their side, and that's where we're getting some traction.
Not a bad boardroom, eh?
Not at all.
Okay, that's perfect. Happy days.